Hey folks, Wally DM here, and today we're going to take a look at a puzzle that could include the Eye of Vecna. Now this is a legendary artifact that has a well-known history throughout Dungeons & Dragons. But of course, if you're not interested in using the Eye of Vecna, then you could use this for any other type of an eye-type artifact or whatever you see fit in your game. The basis of the puzzle is going to come down to something really simple, and I'm excited to share that with you. With that being said, if you are using this for the Eye of Vecna, then I'm curious as to why your characters are looking for it in your game. Are they trying to seek out for fame, fortune, and glory, trying to destroy it, or for other reasons? As with all of my puzzles, this is going to serve as a base that I have put together and for you to build on, so I'll be very excited to see what you think of everything and how you would change it to fit your game. And if you like the content that I'm creating on this channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to join me on the Discord and pick up a copy of my book, Wally DM's Journal of Puzzle Encounters, available now on DriveThruRPG. Now let's get started and take a look at the Eye of Vecna. So in this puzzle, our adventuring party enters the final chamber of what could be a campaign-long seeking of the Eye of Vecna. Now the Eye of Vecna is a powerful, legendary artifact, and it is going to reside in this room. But of course, if you don't want to use the lore from Dungeons & Dragons history with Vecna, perhaps some other type of artifact that is an eye will fit for your game. Let me know in the comments below. But for the purpose of demonstrating this puzzle, we're going with the Eye of Vecna. Now there's a few different things going on. The first and most obvious are these 8 skulls that are arranged as follows. Now if I put my miniature up next to these skulls look huge, but they're not really that way. I just found it best to demonstrate with these skulls in particular. So what we have here, if we can imagine, these are going to be obsidian pedestals, and the skull is going to be resting on top. Now Vecna is an extremely powerful lich, so I have no problems whatsoever saying that these skulls are impervious to damage and they cannot be removed from the pedestal. They are magically sealed in place by the all-powerful lich Vecna. Now the other thing that can be noticed is every other skull has a set of eyes, and these look like real eyes. And they are staring towards the center of the room where there's this 15-foot obsidian obelisk. So taking a look at this obelisk, this is going to be about 15 feet tall, and there's actually some writing around the obelisk in a semicircle or in a circle. And it is going to say, "I saw it through my own eyes." Now you should probably put this in common, but you can use whatever language or runes that you see fit. Now if you would like to make this puzzle just a little bit harder, instead of just a plain obsidian obelisk, I would almost recommend an obelisk that is covered with eyes, and it kind of adds to the theme. So that is what I'm going to go with. Now the eye obelisk is no different than the other one. It's just to throw the characters or the players off track with regards to solving the puzzle. They actually have nothing to do with it yet. Well, the obelisk does, but the eyes don't. So if our characters were to look at this obelisk, it has several eyes on each of its 4 sides, and they're constantly blinking and looking about. Now, if one of the characters were to try to stab or poke one of these eyes, it will destroy it. And then there's going to be a 30-foot burst of force energy, and everyone's going to take 3d12 points of damage. Now, once an eye is destroyed, another eye is going to take its place, and this can go on forever. So this obelisk is indestructible, it cannot be affected by magic, and every time one of these eyes are destroyed, they're replaced, and everyone's going to take 3d12 points of force damage. So let's take one last look at the skulls. Again, each of them, they cannot be moved, they're on top of an obsidian pedestal, and they're all looking straight towards the obelisk. We have every other one that has empty eye sockets, and in between those is one with real looking eyes. Now all of these skulls do look like they're human, but these 2 here on the back, so we'll just label these skulls number 3 and 4, do look to be a bit smaller, so they may be more child size, and all of the other skulls are going to look like they are adults. Now, if our characters want to investigate the skulls a little bit closer, I would allow them a DC 15 medicine check, and on a success, they're going to be able to tell that skulls number 3 and 4 that are back here one of them having blue eyes, that these are not just smaller human skulls, but they are actually halfling skulls. And if a 17 or higher is rolled on that medicine check, then I would allow them to be able to ascertain that these two skulls, skulls number 5 and 6, which includes the hazel eyes, are actually the skulls of elves. And they would also be able to know that skulls 1 and 2 with the green eyes and 3 and 4 on the right side with the blue eyes are human. So that is all the information you need to solve the puzzle. Again, we have 8 skulls and every other one has empty eye sockets, but some of them have humanoid looking eyes in them, green, blue, hazel, and blue. And then we have this black obsidian obelisk. And again, you can use one with eyes or you can use the plain one. That is up to you. But we have this obsidian obelisk in the middle of the room, and around it is written the phrase, "I saw it through my own eyes." So with everything that's been presented, do you know how to solve the puzzle? I'll give you a second if you'd like to figure it out. Did you get it? Great. Let's go over the answer. So the solution is actually going to be the size of the skulls and the eye color. So what we need to do from a player's perspective is we need to look at our character sheet and see what color eyes our character has. So again, these two were halfling. So we have our halfling here, and our dungeon master has already looked at our halfling's character sheet and they said that they have blue eyes. So these are going to match the halfling. This is one of our humans here. We look at our human's character sheet and they have blue eyes as well. So this skull over here is going to represent our human. We have our archer here that has green eyes according to their character sheet. Again, the dungeon master was sneaking a peek and seeing what was in the description of the character sheet. And then finally, we have our elven fighter over here who has hazel eyes. So this skull is going to represent them. Now taking the clue and I saw it through my own eyes, and again imagine these skulls being on an obsidian pedestal with the skull on top. Again, it can't be destroyed, it can't be moved, but it's got these eyes in there and it is just the right height. So we'll have our elf look into his own eyes, which are the hazel eyes. Our rogue is going to look through his own eyes, which are the blue ones. Our halfling is going to look through her own eyes, the blue ones in this direction, and our archer is going to look through her own eyes, which is the green one. And when they do this, they're going to be able to see through the open skull that's next to him. So let's say before our archer looks, the other characters that are looking through their own eyes, they're actually going to be able to see through this skull. They're going to be in a meditation-like state, and they'll be able to see the obelisk by looking through here and then out through here. And up to you how you want to describe that to your players. Maybe their face or their eyes appear in the skull. So all of the other characters that are watching for this first one to look through the skull, then they see his eyes appear here. So once each of these characters are looking through their own eyes, again, they'll be able to see out of this skull and it'll be focusing and concentrating on the obelisk. And when all of them are doing this, the obelisk is going to melt away and the only thing that's going to be left in its place is going to be the Eye of Vecna. But is it going to be that easy to just come over and pick up the Eye of Vecna? Let's not forget that each of our characters are currently staring into a skull that has a copy of their own eyes. Now, before they are able to pull themselves away, we could either roll a d4 or we could select one of those characters, and Vecna is not going to let them get away with things that easy. So let's say we choose our elf here, then the magic from the skull is going to gouge out the eye of the elf, and then everyone is going to be able to move again. So when we come out, now we have one of our characters that has a gouged eye, and wouldn't you know it, the Eye of Vecna is there, which it is activated by placing or replacing your own eye with the Eye of Vecna. Or if we really want to make things interesting, before each character is able to break eye contact with these skulls, maybe each of them has an eye that is lasered or gouged out. So by the time they're able to break away, now each of them are missing an eye, and we have the single Eye of Vecna. Will one of them try to put it into their own empty eye socket, or what will they do? I think this would be a lot of fun to be able to see play out. But let's take one step back. Let's say before the characters solve the puzzle, maybe they're on the right track. Let's say our rogue here, who has blue eyes and should be staring at this skull, decides to get down and look through these green eyes over here. Now what I would do in this situation is nothing's going to happen to our rogue, but whoever's supposed to be looking through those green eyes, which would be our archer, they are going to take 3d12 of psychic damage. So if this rogue stares through here, it's going to affect whoever should be looking through there. And the same with the rest of them. I think that would be a lot of fun, that it's not only a bit of a trap that they fall into with regards to the puzzle overall, but it can also help lead them in the right direction. So this is a very highly customizable puzzle. Now the skulls and the eye color is going to be totally reliant on whatever player characters are in your game. So as a dungeon master, you're going to need to prep by looking at each player's character sheet. Look at the description part and see what color eyes their character has. So that's all I have for you today. What did you think of the puzzle? Is this something that you could use in your game? And if so, what would you do differently? Be sure to leave a comment below and let's get a discussion going. Thank you very much for watching, and on to the next.